Hello Cancerians, my name is Elizabeth Ashley, the Secret Healer, and I am here today to do you an astrological reading for July on my Tongue of the Trees cards. I created these. I'm a professional aromatherapist with over 25 years experience and a medical astrologer, and these cards were designed to bypass the conscious mind and speak to the unconscious mind, which of course is extremely useful when we have things like eclipses. Full moon in Capricorn, it's the end of our eclipse transits, isn't it? Also Saturn's retrograding into our opposite sign of Capricorn. Chiron is turning retrograde into Aries. And finally, Mercury goes direct after a delicious month of retrograde. And of course, we have the new moon in our sign of Cancer. These all bring around triggers and lessons for us to learn. And essential oils, plant medicine is magnificent for helping us to be able to navigate those. So let me show you my reading for Cancer. July 2020. I use the Ring of the Trees reading. So this is something I designed actually for getting to the root of trauma in the physical body, understanding what's going on and the emotional stuff that's causing physical pain. But I've realized that also I can use it to read what's happening in the next few days and weeks ahead. So 13 cards for the Ring of the Trees. So your first card is one of my very best friends. It's great to see this come out. She is Sweet Basil. She is one hell of a bossy boots, and she is empowerment. I'm going to put her down here and tell you that I'm going to draw 13 cards, tell you a bit about the cards, then turn the camera around and do the reading for you. So number 2 is Sweet Fennel. That's to do with long races and that last few feet of being able to push that last bit. So I wonder why that's come out for us. Interesting, interesting. Clary Sage, the most moody of all the essential oils, ruled by Mercury and by the moon, the two main things that are happening in our signs this month. Interesting that that's come out. Black pepper. You'll see why I smile, but for those of you that are overgivers, you'll love this medicine. Oh, nice, soothing, calming frankincense. What does she have to say, I wonder? I like it when the citrus notes come out. Positivity of orange. Beautiful and so pretty. I always use orange when I feel like I've been slapped with the ugly stick. Nice to see her comes out. There's a bit of a party happening here. Laurel. Laurel's turning up in every single reading today, and yet it's an oil that never comes up in readings for every sign I've done so far. There it is. Interesting stuff. This is the warrior. Remember, the Romans used to use laurel to crown the emperor and the victors. The chamomile comes out again. German chamomile seems to be making appearance for everybody. The chamomiles always talk to me in song, and they sing, "Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be." For the warriors among us. Oh, and backed up with her best friend, lavender, for support. Very much a mercurial medicine. See how it's got purple flowers? Clary Sage, mercurial. Purple flowers are mercurial. Interesting. Interesting. We're on to 9. This is 10. Playfulness of Mandarin. I like to see this come out. This is chattery and social and playful, and at a time where we all are locked away, this is really lovely to see for everybody. Eucalyptus. Authenticity. Fascinating to see these oils that would normally be antibacterial, antimicrobial, and of course we still use them for that. So they come out lots and lots in this time of COVID. tremendous for not being able to breathe. But so what when we're taking in that medicine? What's happening to our psyche? Well, we'll have a look at that. What does eucalyptus teach us on the mental level? Because remember, none of them have just a physical level. They have physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, right across. And as the whole thing shifts and changes, then we see changes in health. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Tranquility of myrtle. That says we're upset. Myrtle comes out for upset little girls. Interesting, interesting. Now, this is a nice thought to come out. This is kind of you today, Cancerians. Me today. This is confidence. Number 12 is where we sit before the future virgins in front of us. And beautiful solar plexus medicine, full of confidence, full of cans and showing everyone your knickers. You know, you can show off your cellulite with grapefruits. Beautiful, beautiful. It's nice to see Cancerians up there. Cardinal, very cardinal. And last but not least, the future is motivation. But Monarda, I collect Monarda flowers. It's not an oil that many people use, and I absolutely love her. Again, fantastic respiratory medicine, but she's a Native American oil plant. She is used a lot in Lakota medicine to strengthen. And so when we do the reading, I'll tell you all about elk medicine and how the ancients use elk medicine to make us feel better and stronger. And that's a lovely outcome. I'm pleased with that. So let me tell you a little bit again. So as I say, I am a clinical aromatherapist. Over 25 years professional experience. I am the UK director for the National Association of Holistic Aromatherapists. I write training manuals on aromatherapy for everybody from beginners up to professional aromatherapists. And I am the co-creator of the Tongue of the Trees cards. Now these cards are available just to use as cards, but they also, if you wanted to go a little bit deeper and you wanted to buy the knowledge base that goes with them, the knowledge base looks at the Ayurvedic medicine of each oil, the traditional Chinese medicine, but also from interesting point of view for you and I always see things through the Western medical astrology lens. And so it talks about when an oil is ruled by Cancer, for example, what does that mean? Looking at how the archetype plays out so we can really understand psychological things happening from a medicinal point of view, but also stuff that, well, the lessons that the universe is trying to teach us. So I will turn the camera around now, Cancer. I'm as excited as you. June the 29th, my birthday was. I'm as excited as you to find out what the oils have got in store for us, and I can show you your reading and perhaps give you some ideas of how to use those to help you navigate these times. Let's see how we get on. So let me show you first of all the layout of the cards. Here's number 1. So normally we would have it wider, but it's a small table. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And if you remember rightly, we drew Monarda accidentally, but nothing happens accidentally. So we'll include it in the reading. So when I look at it as an overview, most of the cards that we see here are earth signs. We can say that we have, so if we look at them from a point of view of traditional Chinese medicine, we can say we've got 2 water, which are black pepper and lavender. We have 5 metal. So bear in mind that an oil can have more than one rulership. So for example, sweet basil has wood, fire and earth. And actually that's the overview, if we see, of the whole of the the reading. Oh, I've got a little friend here. I don't know if you can see him crawling. So we'll leave him. It's obviously here for a reason. So 5 metal are black pepper, frankincense, myrtle. Where's myrtle? German chamomile and eucalyptus. All of those are ruled by metal. But the ones we're most interested in are earth, wood and fire, because there's so many more of those and everything else. There's 7 earth, would you believe? So those are, again, basil, frankincense, black pepper, frankincense, myrtle, grapefruit and mandarin. We do have wood and fire, but let's talk about this idea of the prevalent element first of all. We can see that we've got 7 earth, 6 wood and 6 fire, and oddly that's backed up in the one card. If we'd have drawn one card, which was our first, we'd have come up with exactly the same thing, which is always very strange when that happens. And so we'll come back to the different, what those earth, fire and wood medicines talk about in a minute. But let's for a second look at the planetary side, because again, when we look at that, we've got loads and loads of fire going on. Now, quite often we'll see them overlaid, because obviously the nature of it, if it's heating, then we can expect that it'll be fire. But also, we look at fire, but we also look at Mars, which is a fire sign and the most fiery, and we also look at Aries. And Leo is a fire sign, and predominantly right across here, and oddly, we're in Leo season. We have orange, ruled by Leo, and grapefruit, and also fennel. And Mars is German chamomile, sweet basil and eucalyptus. But also on the overview, what we'll see, and we'll go much more deeply into it in a minute, but just to get an overview, we see lots of philosophical expansion happening through frankincense, which is ruled by Sagittarius, but also through laurel, which is ruled by Jupiter. And when you start to understand the archetypes, you'll see that you can often kind of guess what the archetype is. And in particular with laurel, if you think that the emperor in Rome wore the laurel, it's because it's a kingly oil, and anything that's authoritative is ruled by Jupiter. So here we go, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So we're seeing that same pattern as an overview. So let me get my book and I'll read you some poems that come with these. I won't read them all, but it's helpful sometimes to know what the planet says. And Sweet Basil is a book that I've written. If you want to get the Sweet Basil book, if you go to Amazon, it's called The Oil of Empowerment, Sweet Basil, The Oil of Empowerment. And I describe her in depth because she's a good friend of mine. She's very, very strong natured, and I always, when I use her, I always envisage her like a sergeant major who's been working in Afghanistan. She is female, definitely, and she dances on the bar, and she's got her camo pants on, and she's quite happy showing off her bits and swigging a beer with the lads, and she's raucous, and she's just really not sentimental in any way, shape or form, except that she always has your back. And for that one to come out first tells us that at the moment we're worrying about stuff that perhaps we shouldn't be, because we should be moving forward. And when I've looked at the spread as an overview, and bear in mind that I'm a Cancerian too, I can kind of read these a bit more deeply, that potentially there is a project that's very close to becoming to fruition, that you worked extremely hard for, and perhaps you are waning now and starting to feel like it's overwhelming you, or perhaps there's an element of feeling nervous about stuff and worrying that you are not good enough, maybe a bit of imposter syndrome coming about. And so Sweet Basil, if you imagine that you are on the assault course, and you're climbing up the rope ladders, and you've stopped, and everybody else is, you've got to go over the top, and she is shouting at you. There is no way that she is going to let you go back. And she doesn't do that because she's picking on you. It's because she knows that you are capable of doing this, and that as Cancerians, we are very prone to derailing ourselves. And so she's saying, get out of your head. Always, Sweet Basil says, get out of your head. But Sweet Fennel, he's gentler. I mean, it's like sarcasm calling Basil sweet. She's only sweet from the fragrant point of view, because people get her mixed up with the more clinical holy basil, and that's got a bitter fragrance. But its fragrance is sweet, but its medicine isn't. But Sweet Fennel is much more cajoling. And imagine you are in a race, and maybe it's the marathon, and it's 26 miles and you've done 25.5. That's when Sweet Basil comes into her own, that she's able to say, I know that you can do this. I know you've gone past this, and I know you just need a power boost. And bear in mind that I said that she's ruled by the Leo, so therefore by the sun, and she's pouring all this energy and this vitality into you. And as you breathe her, obviously that sunshine medicine goes straight to the brain. It's really important stuff. And I do feel very strongly, looking at these cards, this isn't the kind of medicine that we're massaging on ourselves. It's about understanding where we are in the process during this month, and seeing the whole month as a process, and saying, right, okay, I am going to have this theme of being able to run the race, do my project, but keep coming back and being derailed by people, by myself, a lot of by myself, but also energy. And every time that comes about, if you start thinking, I can't do this, I've had enough of this, it's becoming beyond me, I'm not strong enough to do that, get the Sweet Fennel out. She is so good at being able to say, this, you're so close. And then you'll start to understand as you read that there are cards that have more importance than others, maybe accidentally, maybe deliberately, but I find that it's the oils that fall on the cards that have prime numbers. So I give most credibility to number 1, number 3, number 7, and number 11 and 13. So we're getting to number 3 now, and we're seeing Clary Sage, and Clary Sage says clairvoyance, but it's definitely about that psychic ability stuff going on, and it's about intuition. Listen to your intuition and tap into that. But also on a physical level, Clary Sage it mimics estrogen. It's very hormonal. So on the days when you are moved by your hormones, affected by your hormones is the word I was going to look for, especially girls, you know, it feels like when we're premenstrual or we're feeling menopausal, and our viewpoint's skewed, isn't it? And you know, that's to do with estrogen. Estrogen is the molecule of worry. So when it drops out, then we start to worry more, and we start to become more we take things personally. I take things personally, definitely. And Clary Sage says, well, okay, perhaps you need it from a hormonal point of view, but also I want you to really think about if somebody says something, or you're starting to read the signals out in the universe and you're like, no, this isn't going to work. Just check in with yourself and say, right, okay, Clary Sage, help me see, is this what I'm seeing, or is this me derailing myself? Because remember, all the time you see our natural urges and abilities based on our history pull the triggers, you know. And all of this says we're so close to whatever you're trying to do, then, but don't be derailed by the things that you think that you're seeing. Clary Sage helps you to see them much more clearly. And it's a funny oil because it's got so many rulerships. Now, traditionally, I say that it's ruled by Mercury and the moon. So bear in mind that Mercury rules thoughts and ideas, data, the teacher student archetype, but the moon is our emotions, so immediately that feels like PMT. But also many other scholars say that, well, actually no, it's ruled by Aquarius, and Aquarius has 2 rulers because it used to be ruled by Saturn by the ancients, but then Uranus was discovered, and they said, well, no, that rules it better. So what we see when it's ruled from that point of view is very similar. It's mind games. Aquarius, they don't really think about things sentimentally. It's all up in the brain, and they're very good at mind games. And so don't get sucked into that. Use clarisage from whichever point of view you think, right, okay, is this my mind? Is this my emotions? I need stabilizing here. I need to see how things really, really are. And then this is a lovely one, because this really gives some insight into what's going on with clarisage. Who potentially is it that's manipulating you? Because potentially this is somebody who's got extremely used to you looking after them and having them at the front of your agenda. Black pepper is strong and fiery, and it kind of goes, right, stop looking over there, you're supposed to be looking over there. So I feel like somebody's going to keep on drawing your attention back and going, no, that won't work, or no, you shouldn't do that, you should be with me. And I think that at the moment, kind of, or maybe you're doing it. I mean, I can see that I've been doing it a bit. My husband had to go out somewhere important, and I'd said to him, I love the fact that you're going, I'm really excited for you, but I wish you weren't going. I really like having you at home with me. And I thought afterwards, actually, that was meant as a compliment, but he could have taken that very manipulatively, you know. So in his situation, had he done that, Black Pepper would have been able to say, oh, she's all right, just you concentrate on what you're supposed to be doing. You've got an agenda, you've got a pathway, a karmic pathway that you're supposed to be following. You stay on that. And then, I don't know if you might be able to see, so let's move that up so in case you can't see it. So frankincense, such a comforting oil, such a comforting oil. And if you are finding this very stressful, if you're finding this and you think, oh, but I really don't want to hurt them, you know, I've been looking after them for a long time, and how do I do that? Frankincense is a piece of elastic, always. So it restores elasticity to the tissue. So if we're using it for skincare, then we see it for very good for wrinkles, for example, or for tightening the skin. But also it slows the breath. And what you find is when you calm down, that there is more wiggle room than you thought that there was. Things become more flexible, and maybe that's to do with the meditative state that the oil takes you into. But it's extremely good at being able to help you to go, right, okay, I can move a bit further away from them, a bit further the way that I want to do, and still come back to them. And I'll feel comfortable with that, and they'll feel comfortable with that. And both of us are looked after. And frankincense is, remember, one of the most sacred of the plants. You know, it's one of the most oldest, can you say most oldest? One of the oldest incenses. In every religion it's used to connect with divine. And so just slowing the breath, breathing it very, very slowly, and just contemplating this here will be so helpful. But also thinking, bearing in mind, I am so close, I cannot be derailed by what they're doing. And I do feel over here, not so much here, this side is starting to feel like maybe you're the dependent one, but I'll go on to that in a moment. But this is a real time for self-sufficiency, and these are oils to help with self-sufficiency, definitely. So from the frankincense, this is so comforting. Whatever that challenge is that's coming up for you, frankincense is very, very has your back. You know, they all have your back. These are your friends, definitely. These are your friends for your month, for the month. But this is a bit like having the mother superior looking after you. It's the big guns, you know. It's quiet. It's not going to be, it's not defensive. It's entirely protective. This is defensive. That's protective. This here, that's just positivity. you know, when we've done this and we've started to feel more like we've got this, really, that we're starting to see, right, okay, this is a journey, and this piece of elastic's got to get a bit stronger, a bit stronger, a bit stronger. Funnily enough, I'm going to say something completely random now. Here, I'm using frankincense at the moment on my ankle because I've injured my Achilles tendon, and it really hurts every time I walk up the hill. Those who don't know me will I have to walk up a huge hill that I call Mordor to get to school each day, and my tendon is really hurting. And so this frankincense I'm using to restore the elasticity to the tendon. So once you started, you know, that's gradual. Every day, a little bit more stretch, a little bit more stretch, a little bit more stretch on my tendon, but also on the psychological process. And here, as it starts to work out, we start to feel so much happier about the situation. You know, orange is just, it is just positivity. It's just optimism and happiness. And I always say, I get the orange out if I've been hit by the ugly stick. I look in the mirror and go, oh my goodness me, what's looking back at me? Because orange just goes, oh, well, it's just another day. And you start to feel more confident about everything that's going on. It's lovely. And it is a happy confidence. We're heading towards confidence in a big way here. But this is different. This is just playful, feeling stronger, and just, yeah, I'm all right with this. I'm all right with this. It's like the penny drops. Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. The penny drops here, and you're starting to think, well, I've battled with this for such a long time, wondered how it's going to work out. And orange goes, see, it's all right, isn't it? It's all right. And we're heading then for victory. Absolute victory. What a tremendous card to have there, because, see, another little bug off the flowers. As I say, this is the victor. This is absolutely the victor. And I want to read you the poem that goes with this, if I can find it. 1 second. So it says, I am the plant of the victorious, of the warrior and the blessed. Seeds are planted, place the leaves upon the heads of those loved best. For I am courage, focus and nobility, supremacy and prime. When you breathe my vapours in, those qualities are thine. Think of me like your shield, fortifying your heart. I'm the steely edge of your blade, which sets your skills apart. Together, you and I are quick. We make decisions now with ease. But unlike on the battlefields, I bring a sense of peace. Forgive me if I gloat. For superiority, I do well. I know the feeling of winning, and it's captured in my smell. Inhale deep, my soldier, long and hard, for bravely we progress through these obstacles you face and travel fast and to success. And I want you to be really careful though, because that seems like all good, and it is, but it's ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Just like here we see frankincense. Frankincense is ruled by Sagittarius, and that's the philosophical quest upwards towards truth, goodness, culture. And here this feels very much like, you know, philosophical growth. But here, this is Henry VIII growth. He got bigger and bigger. The bigger his ego got, the bigger his waistline got. And if we're not careful, we get aggressive. And all of this over here is starting to say, right, just calm your guns, right? Because as you start to feel so good about things, if we're not careful, it's going to go to our heads. And you are winning, and you should enjoy the winning. And if you need to be sitting there with some laurel on your head, fantastic, but don't show it off to the world. You know, you can feel strong about it, but don't become a big head, over conceited, over authoritarian. A lot of this over here, as we get towards grapefruit, we're heading towards Capricorn, which is a lovely, lovely energy, but it can be overly authoritarian. So as we're starting to feel very much more strong on our feet, there is going to be a danger that people go, oh my God, what's she like now? So just watch that. But this is a really interesting oil from that point of view. But also from a medicinal point of view, this is the leaves in particular. Lots of the leaves that you've got coming up: orris spiritory, eucalyptus, laurel, myrtle, frankincense, basil. All of those are oils that we would use to protect the lungs. So if you get a cough or a cold, your blend's there. You know, laurel, eucalyptus, myrtle, sweet basil, frankincense. That's not only dealing with your cough and cold, but it's also dealing with the medicine that's you know, the psychological medicine. So I do think, looking at that, there is a possibility that you are going to get a chest infection, and hopefully, I'm not even going to say the word, that's all that it is. And if you do, there's your blend, and I would stick some tea tree in it as well, even though it hasn't come up in the reading. And now I was thinking, when I was picking the flowers to hide the wood, you haven't got many flowers in here, which is ironic since I've got a garden to pick on. But these two are, do you know what, this has come up on every single reading. Out of all the 12 signs, German chamomile was in every single reading, and I think that is really poignant. First of all, it's out in the garden, so if you have got some, just go and work with the plant, spend some time. But she is, it's funny because everything about her is gentle, isn't it? Soothe. She's got lovely thin stems. She bobs around in the sunlight, in the wind doesn't push her over. She's very, very gentle oil. But astrologically, she's ruled by Mars. She's in all of this warrior stuff, and so this is saying, just let it be. All the chamomiles sing to me. They go, "Okay, Sarah, whatever will be, will be," and use that as your weapon. Your weapon towards the future is just keep pushing forwards, and keep thinking, whatever will be, will be. Do not be waylaid there. That is a tremendous weapon forward. What number is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Funny, there's your 7, there's your power. But 8, so yeah, use that, your Mars medicine. Your weapon is just going, well, let's just see where it goes. I'm just going to drive forward. I'm just going to keep on working towards my plan and see how it goes. Whatever will be, will be. And of course, that in itself is incredibly soothing. But so get the chamomile tea out, go and sit with it in the garden. But just breathing the oil is so fantastic. And if there are any of these that really jump out to you and I think, well, I do need to be working with that, and you're wondering how to do that, I genuinely would just sit with the oil and breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, out, hold for 4, and do that for about 5 minutes each day, and really contemplate what you are finding in the fragrances. Can you discern the different synergies? Can you find your way around the architecture of the blend, because it's made up of many, many chemicals? Contemplate, can you feel the ancestry of the plant? The medicine will come to you. You just want to focus that time to get those molecules to the brain and help your brain do and relax and act in the way that you need to be able to respond to the astrology this month. And we can talk forever about lavender, or we can talk none at all and say that she is the most soothing, the most supportive, the most calming. That's all you need to say. We could cite I could cite millions of medical trials, but that is all you need to know. If you are feeling overwhelmed, she is there. And if you've got lavender in a blend, then you've got a fantastic ally. So then we're going over here. Hopefully you can see that. I'll lift it up. And this is just a really nice thing to get, because all of this says work and move forward, and just keep looking forward. Stop worrying about what you're doing. It's going to be okay. Mandarin says, let's do it playfully. Actually, let's look at these two together because they're in the same side. Be yourself. Don't be too serious. Don't think you've got to do it the way that everybody else thinks that you've got to do it. Be yourself. Find that thing that is quintessentially you. What is it that you do that nobody else does? What is the... For example, my dad would turn in his grave if he knew that I'm going to tell you that I can fit a fish slice in my mouth. He used to absolutely go mad at me. How many people can do that? What's your thing? What's your thing? That's what that's saying there. And I will read you, if I can find the eucalyptus one, because I think we all get used to thinking about the lung medicine, the way that it stops the spread of disease, how it's analgesic. Now, all of those things are true about it, and we get used to using it entirely for its physical medicine. But when we do use it, what are the shifts that come about in the psyche? So it's quite a lengthy poem, but it says, you know a bigger plan exists for you, connecting you to the renewal of the world, but the minutiae of life bogs you down, leaving your shoots of growth unfurled. You can feel more exists within you, but somehow you can't express it. The words won't find their way out, or the pictures you draw just messy. And as the energy jars, it affects the way you breathe. And as you speak too quickly and your inferred tone makes you seethe, words take on a life of their own, shaping to what you think people want to hear. But inside, a silent scream begins to form, and now eucalyptus becomes sight-seer. It's a tale as old as time, you see, trying to be who they want you to be. But everyone wants a different you. I can hear you, aching to be just me. Breathe me, slow and relax into the familiar note of you. Rest and feel the rhythm change, letting you to catch up. Allow the feel of being you to evaporate in my vapours. Know that you are so beautiful and you will always be enough. And it's funny, it's next to black pepper, and really that's exactly what black pepper was telling us, wasn't it? Stop trying to be what everybody else wants you to be. You have a right to the life of your own. Here says the life of your own that you've chosen and you have natural abilities is beautiful, and it's time that you use those. And if ever there was a time in history where that can really be true, it's now. You know, we're all on this tremendous platform talking to people who've never met us, and hidden behind a camera we can either be perfectly who we want to be or really incredibly nasty. Maybe that's the same thing. Yeah, you're a lot safer now than you used to be, so it's time to allow that to come out. Now, myrtle, again, she's a breathing medicine, but I use myrtle for little girls who are upset, and it's got an interesting rulership because everything about it says upset, 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 but it's ruled by Virgo, and Virgo is about the system. It's about finding the gunk and making it how you want it to be. You know, you look at something and you say, right, okay, that works, but I'm not happy with it myself. I think I could make it better, and that becomes soothing. So if that's maybe what's affecting your confidence and you think it's not entirely right, she's saying get out your head, but she's saying, okay, well, but work out the kinks. Look where the kinks are, and that will really settle you and make you feel stronger. And our outcome card is grapefruit, the strongest and most confident oil that we could possibly have imagined. And we've got ever such a lot of solar plexus medicine here. You look at your fruits, for example. Look at your yellows that are coming up. These are good signs to say solar plexus. And the solar plexus is all about identity, about willpower, about feeling strong at your core, Also, though, it's about digestion. And there are actually, I hadn't noticed that before, but there are a lot of digestive oils here. Digestive, 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 digestive. So if you're starting to feel like you've got a rumbly belly and you can feel the butterflies in your tummy, don't necessarily think, I've got an infection here. Potentially it's all down to solar plexus stuff. So have a look at some of the oils to do with the solar plexus. You've definitely got grapefruit to help you there. You've got sweet fennel to help you there. Orange. All of these, you know, these are ruled by Leo, of course. And Leo is the yellow sun, the solar plexus. So that's, I mean, that's beautiful. This is totally about your nerves. Totally, the whole thing's about your nerves. And it's about feeling like you should not step out of your the plan, the comfort zone, the status quo that things are, because you're worried that it will upset other people. And things that are being said to you potentially are deliberately being said to derail you, or just maybe, I mean, that's the other thing. We're talking about your solar plexus and your sense of identity and your confidence, but maybe this comes from somebody else's lack of confidence, and there's nothing to stop you helping them, giving them the oils to be able to breathe, you know. This oil came in, which is the 14th card outside of the 13, so we wouldn't normally use it, but I do think that she's an underused oil. Not many people use her, but she's about going off on your own and knowing that everybody will be there when you come back. It's about giving people space and enjoying your space, to just be very yin, very receptive, to kind of just soak up what the universe is giving you. And in this sunshine month, it's full of sunshine, really. There's nothing except upsetting at all in here. Nothing at all. There's no, it's just beautiful. I think you've got a lovely month ahead of you, and Monada also attracts the people that you want to you to help your cause. So if you are feeling lonely on this quest and you think, my confidence isn't enough on its own, get some Monada. It grows in the garden. Make a tea out of it. It's beautiful. Oswego tea, you might see it written as, or just get out there breathing. It's lovely. It smells like bergamots, and the energy of the plant is entirely about motivating you from the point of view of knowing that you're not alone. You're not. The universe has put you a whole tribe of people there to work with you, to support you. You just have to attract them to you, and you do that by being playful and authentic, and knowing that everything else that happens, if it's negative to derail you, it's coming from here, or you or them. But it's not how things are. It's purely mental. So hopefully you found that exciting. If you would like your own pack of Tongue of the Trees cards, I'll just show you this. Most of the interpretation we can see, hopefully you can see that. Here's the poem. Here's what I was using on the bottom, like Mars, metal, fire. All of that comes together. So I hope you found that useful. They're very weird, these cards. When I designed them, and Gergely asked me to write the translations to his to his Hungarian poems, I had to listen to the plants all over again, and to hear them speak to me was very strange and stressful, and I didn't like it, and I didn't think they'd be good. When I got them in my hands and started to work with them, I found them extraordinary. And I hope that you do too. Now, obviously, if you are not a regular follower of my channel because you're not an aromatherapist, like and subscribe now, and comment and share, please. Also, in the description, you will find how to buy the Tongue of the Trees cards, but also how to buy the knowledge base. And remember that they are separate. The cards are available from Fragrant Earth in Glastonbury, and soon will be available from Amazon. So just keep watching, because as soon as they are, you'll get a link in the link below, and that's Amazon UK just at the moment. The Knowledge Base is a digital platform, and so the second that you pay me £45, I can send it down to you, and there is over 40 different videos in there looking at all aspects of the oil. Also, make sure that you check out my books. If you're a beginner to essential oils, look at download my free book from Amazon, The Complete Guide to Clinical Aromatherapy and the Essential Oils of the Physical Body. Snappy title. I've regretted it ever since I did it. But also, if you are a beginner to essential oils and you're starting to really enjoy them, but you're not confident, perhaps also look for the recipe hub that goes with the tongue of the trees. Totally unrelated to any of the readings that we've done, but it's using the cards to make recipes. There's just around about 200 recipes in there, how to make treatments for body lotions, for shampoos, for anything you can think of, from bronchitis to, I can't think of something from beginning with Z, sunburn, right the way across. So yeah, have a look, go and have a look at my website. And incidentally, if you would like me to do your own personal reading, if you have a look on my website, thesecrethealer.co.uk, there is a link for consultations. Book an hour-long personal consultation, and yeah, I'll do your own reading. For now, thank you for being generous and all the nice things that you've said, and I look forward to doing your August readings.
There will be comments, and if you want to, you can send a comment and say like hi's to Mum and Dad, right? And then the link to the next video will be in the description below underneath the video. So bye.